Hi, I'm Ed Alexander, attorney with Alexander Abramson. This is video 3 of our How Much to Pay video series within the Guide to Buying a Business. In the previous series, we kind of talked a little bit about the terms and the structure of valuing the business. I think it's important to note here that, again, we're not trying to make you into valuation professionals. The idea here is you want to go back and check what the broker has done or what the seller has come up with, right? And so we want to remember that value equals our weighted SDE, so our weighted seller's discretionary earnings, which you've checked because you've gone back to the financial statements and taken a look at the numbers that the broker or the seller has used to determine SDE, made sure they're in fact appropriate, multiplied by a number we call the multiplier, right? And so what you're doing here is if you come up with the same SDE that the broker has, what you're doing is you're deriving the multiplier that the broker used. And so what you then want to do is, once you have agreed on SDE, go and inquire with the broker, how did you arrive at the multiplier? Multipliers are used in what's called a direct market data method valuation for a business. And they're based on transactions that have occurred in the past. Now, transactions vary because business sizes vary, business gross revenues vary, et cetera, right? But the multiplier itself should be based on those past transactions. So inquiring with a broker or even your broker about that multiplier can drive you into what the value is. Now, unfortunately, many businesses that are for sale are overpriced. And they're overpriced either because the SDE is not correct, but most likely because the multiplier that was used was incorrect. So as a result, we take a look at that. Now, one area that comes up often is a broker or seller will say, well, we based it on gross revenue. I don't really care for that gross revenue method, because if a business is not performing, and in other words, it doesn't have the level of SDE that other businesses have, then gross revenue doesn't really mean anything, because at the end of the day, you can't spend that gross revenue. That gross revenue is going to pay the expenses of the business. There's got to be something left over at the end in order for there to be money to pay the financing, right? So you are putting your money at risk by buying that business, and you should receive a return on investment on that money based on that risk. So we have that financing. So we're going to get into more of this process in our next video. Thank you for watching this one.